How's it going, folks? Taylor Wachowski here. I hope you don't mind the change of view. We are in a new apartment now, and it's also very hot in here, so if you can hear the fan sounds, I do apologize. I'm trying to keep my little critters cool, as well as myself, so don't mind that sound. But today we are going to be talking about how to work with dogs that bark non-stop. So if you're interested in learning about that and how to stop your dog, then let's get started. First off, it's very important to make sure that your dog's needs are met, meaning they've had water and food, they're not hungry or thirsty, they've gone outside, they've had time to go potty, they've been walked, you've had time to play with them, they're not hot or cold. A lot of times dogs who are really warm, especially here in the summertime, they may be extra hyperactive. They may be increasing their food, decreasing their food, increasing their water intake. More energy or less energy, it really depends. For those dogs that have less energy, where it's just too hot to go outside, they're cooped up inside all day long, they're going to have more energy because they're not getting outside and getting walked. Quick side note, whenever you're walking your dog outside, make sure to touch the pavement that they're about to walk on, especially the black pavement. It can get very, very hot. Even at 75, 80 degrees, that pavement can get very, very hot. It attracts the sun and it traps it in there. So they are walking barefoot out there. So if you touch it with your hand can tolerate a lot more heat than, say, your foot can. So try to touch it with the back of your hand, or if you're wearing flip-flops, put your bare foot on there. If you put your foot on there and it's too hot for you, it's certainly too hot for your dog. Or if it just feels warm to your hand, maybe consider having your dog limited on that type of pavement. Get them on the grass, get them on lighter pavement. Make sure that maybe they have booties on if you're going to take them out. Make sure to touch any pavement your animal is about to walk on. If it's too hot for your hand, it's certainly too hot for theirs. Even if you think it's kind of warm, that usually means it's too hot for them to walk on. Just because they're not jumping up in pain, or they're not yelping, or they're not dancing around, doesn't mean it's too hot for them. Dogs can burn their feet very easily, especially depending on the area that you are in. So aside from that little side tangent, let's talk about barking dogs. Dogs bark for a number of reasons, whether it's because they could be bored, because they need something, because they're trapped somewhere, they're anxious, they hear a noise outside, they are alert barking, they're protecting their territory. They are trying to alert you to something, whether it's an unknown, undiagnosed health issue and they sense something different in your body chemistry or your body language. They're trying to let you know, hey, there's something different going on. Dogs can bark because they need to be let outside, because they're bored, because Timmy's stuck in a well somewhere. Dogs will bark for many different reasons. So it's very important to understand your dog and learn why they are barking. Now, number one rule of thumb, make sure they are fed and watered. Okay, check. Make sure they've gone outside, they've gone potty, they've completely eliminated themselves. Check. Make sure they are not too hot or cold. Check. Make sure that they've had a good play session. A lot of times dogs are very bored. You've done that, check, and the dog is still barking. Okay, well then let's do some mental stimulation. A lot of times physical exercise is not enough to tire your dog out. I've worked with many a German Shepherd or even a Border Collie that is just go, 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 go. German Short-Haired Pointers, even Dobermans, lots of specific breeds that have a lot of energy. Just running them all the time is not going to be enough for them. It's actually not even very healthy for them to consistently be running. It's hard on the joints. So we want to work out them mentally and not just physically. So say you take your dog for a walk, we come back in, we had playtime, they're still really bored and they're barking at you. Let's do a quick training session. By working your dog with basic obedience, you're working out their brain. You're giving them a mental workout which will tire them out much more quickly than if you just ran them for 10 or 20 miles. Imagine if you were going to the gym and you were going to get a good workout. You're there for maybe 2 hours, hour, 45 minutes, whatever it is. Your body is just totally done. You know, you're tired, you go home, take a shower, get some electrolytes in you, and you're ready to go again. You're actually pumped up, you have more energy. Versus going to a student lecture or a book lecture. Come on, Dennis, come on. Good boy. He's a good boy. Thank you, little man. Versus if you go to a book lecture, a student lecture, you listen to someone talk, you listen to one of my lectures or one of my videos, you listen to someone talk for 2 or 3 hours. After that, you're done for the day. You want to go home, chill on the couch, maybe have a glass of wine if that's your thing, chill out, watch some Netflix, watch a movie, play some video games. You're just done. You're not ready to take in any more information because your body has been worked out. Your brain has been worked out. Same thing happens for dogs. So if your dog is exercised, fed and watered, and they're still barking, let's put them through a quick little training session. Doesn't have to be anything really special. Make sure that when you're training them, you're not using it as a punishment. A lot of times if I have a dog that's really barking, I'll work on their stay duration. I don't use this as a punishment. I don't yell at them and say quiet, or I don't say down and stay as a punishment for them. I use this as a way to keep their brain focused on this one thing that they're doing. They are focused on me, they are focused on staying, they're waiting to see when they're going to get that treat or what else they need to do. And a lot of times it's a really good way to teach them an alternate behavior. It's a really good way to teach them an alternate behavior such as being quiet. Now remember, you're not saying stay and using it as a correction, okay? We're not using this as, you put them in their crate, close it, slam it closed, put a blanket over it, shut up, be quiet, okay? Like a bird, you throw a blanket over their cage. We're not doing that. So you just give them something else to do. You can give them a chew. If they have a chew, you can give them a Kong, put some frozen peanut butter in there, put some wet food in there and freeze it, give them that Kong. That should keep them busy. You're working them out mentally. So you don't have to do a downstay, you don't have to do any of that. Maybe even just doing a quick training session is all that dog needs. Maybe just going through the regular cues that they already know. Do a chaining behavior, do a sit, a down, a stay, a come, to the side if they go around you, or they go through the legs, or they can leave it or pick it up or carry an item, or teach them something new, teach them touch, or a lot of other really cool tricks, shake other paw down, roll over, whatever, and they get the reward. Give them a little bit of mental stimulation. If you're too busy to do this, then really try to work out some time to get your dog mentally stimulated, okay? You have a job to do, you have stuff to do, you have stuff to keep you busy. Your dog doesn't, and they don't have a choice in that. So if your dog has been cooped up all day, or they're just really bored, or they're a really hyperactive breed, consider using more brain games for them than just running them outside and physically exercising them. So many people say, oh, well, I have a big backyard, my dog gets plenty of exercise. The majority of the time your dog is outside, they're not really exercising themselves, or they're doing compulsive behavior, such as running up and down the fence until they run an actual track in the ground, and they're going further and further down until they reach China, So I don't think this type of behavior is very good for the dog. I think that we should really try to teach them something else, because compulsive behaviors can become harmful to the body and to the mind. It just means that they just dogs that are in the shelters and they just circle round and round and round, or they jump and jump and jump and jump. They jump and bounce off the walls. They pace back and forth. These behaviors are really not good for the body or the mind. We want to give our dogs something good to do that tires them out and gives them a job to do. So, to take away from this video, a lot of times when I have a dog that barks and barks and barks, and we've done everything on the checklist, they've gone potty, they've had their water and food, they've had playtime, they've had walking, proper physical exercise, let's do something like some obedience. Teach them a new cue. Teach them a new trick. Ask them for a downstay. Work on their duration of a stay, whether it's a sit, a stand, or a downstay, or teach them to go back and forth from one place to the other. Anything like that. Teach them, a good leave it cue or a good focus cue. See how long you can get your dog to look at you while you're just standing there. Try practicing your obedience in different positions where you can have your dog sit when you're like this, or you can have your dog sit when you have your back turned to them. You can have them sit when you're laying down, or you're doing push-ups, or you're doing jumping jacks, or whatever it is. Some of that's in my earlier videos of where I show how to proof your dog in lots of different situations while giving them their cue. So if you want to go check that out, feel free. It's earlier in my videos in my channel, but practice things like that. So work with your dog. It really doesn't take a whole lot. If you're ever worried, always check it out with your vet. I know it's kind of hard during these times with COVID going on to go check with your vet, but make sure that your dog is nice and healthy. They could be barking or acting out because they're in pain, because there's a bad tooth, or there's joint pain, or whatever it is. Who knows? Maybe they have an upset stomach. We don't know. Maybe Timmy is stuck in the wall and they're trying to help you. Just check it out. Overall, make sure that they are healthy and happy. And a lot of times just working with them a little bit mentally will be more than enough to tire them out, and then make them happy and fulfilled, and make you happy and fulfilled. Anytime I'm working with a client and I train with their dog, we can really only train for maximum 45 minutes with the dog alone. If I'm training with a dog and I'm doing obedience or walking on leash or whatever we're doing, after 45 minutes, that's max. That's with also a lot of breaks in between. So really after just 5 minutes working with your sits, down, stays, 5 or 10 minutes, your dog will be good. So try that, set a little timer throughout the day. Train with your dog before they start barking. If they are barking, then you can still try the obedience and do all that. But try before they start barking, so they don't get to that point of, hey, I'm bored, Mom, Dad, I'm bored, I'm gonna go bug you, let's do something. And they get reinforced for every time I bug Mom or Dad. I get to go, they interact with me, so we get to go interact with them without them even having to ask. So we kind of, extinguish that other behavior of them barking because they're bored, and then we go and work with them. We should do it before they get to that point. So try this out a few minutes throughout the day. So 5 minutes several times a day, 2 minutes several times a day, 10 minutes a couple times a day. Work with your dog and see what helps your dog personally. Just work with your dog, get them tired mentally, get them tired physically, keep them hydrated, keep them happy. And of course, if you have any questions, then feel free to reach out. Thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helps those out there with really, really barking dogs. When it comes to puppies, it's the same thing. They're going to be bored, they're going to be barking, they're going to be, they need a lot of really short training sessions. So for them, it could be 1 or 2 minutes several times a day. It really doesn't take much if you just want to teach them a quick leave it, or you want to teach them down, or you want to work on that. Even if you don't get a full down at, all in one, that's okay. You work on it throughout that day. It'll give them good mental stimulation. You'll bond, and it'll make you guys, closer. So once again, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you would like to see next time, and until then, stay positive. Do the same thing for any kind of